One sunny morning, a curious bear named Bruno wandered through the forest. He loved exploring and finding new things. As he walked, he heard a soft, buzzing sound. It was coming from a tall tree. Bruno's nose twitched with excitement. He wondered what could be making that noise. Bruno followed the sound and saw a small beehive hanging from a branch. Bees were flying in and out, busy collecting honey. Bruno's mouth watered at the thought of sweet honey. He loved honey more than anything, but he knew bees could be tricky. He had to be careful. Bruno decided to wait and watch. He sat quietly under the tree, hoping the bees would leave. But the bees kept working. Hours passed, and Bruno grew impatient. He couldn't resist any longer. He stood up and reached for the hive. Suddenly, a bee buzzed angrily near his ear. Bruno swatted at the bee, but more bees came out. They buzzed loudly, warning him to stay away. Bruno didn't listen. He grabbed the hive and ran. The bees chased him, stinging his nose and ears. Bruno howled in pain, but didn't let go of the hive. He was determined to get the honey. Finally, Bruno reached a river. He jumped in, hoping the water would stop the bees. The bees flew away, and Bruno sighed in relief. He climbed out and opened the hive. But to his surprise, there was no honey inside. The hive was empty. Bruno felt disappointed and foolish. Just then, a tiny bee flew out of the hive. It landed on Bruno's nose and spoke. "You took our home, but we saved our honey. We work hard for it. If you want honey, ask nicely." Bruno was shocked. He had never heard a bee talk before. He felt ashamed of his actions. Bruno apologized to the bee. "I'm sorry for taking your hive. I was greedy and didn't think about your hard work. Can you forgive me?" The bee smiled and said, "We forgive you. But remember, kindness is better than force." Bruno nodded, feeling grateful for the lesson. The bee flew back to the hive and returned with a small piece of honeycomb. "Here, this is for you. But next time, ask first." Bruno thanked the bee and tasted the honey. It was the sweetest he had ever had. He promised to always be kind and respectful to the bees. From that day on, Bruno visited the bees often. He brought them flowers and helped protect their hive. The bees shared their honey with him, and they became good friends. Bruno learned that kindness and respect could bring sweet rewards. He was happier than ever before. One day, a storm hit the forest. The wind was strong, and the rain poured heavily. Bruno worried about the bees. He ran to their hive and saw it swaying dangerously. Without thinking, he held the branch steady until the storm passed. The bees were safe thanks to Bruno's quick action. The bees were grateful to Bruno. They made him a special honey cake to thank him. Bruno felt proud to have helped his friends. He realized that true friendship means helping each other in times of need. The forest felt like a happier place with Bruno and the bees working together. News of Bruno and the bees' friendship spread through the forest. Other animals were inspired by their story. They started being kinder to one another. The forest became a peaceful and joyful place. Everyone learned that kindness could create strong bonds and make life sweeter. Bruno and the bees continued to live happily in the forest. They shared many adventures and always looked out for each other. Bruno never forgot the lesson he learned. Kindness is the sweetest reward of all. He became known as the kindest bear in the forest, loved by all the animals. And so, the story of Bruno and the bees became a legend in the forest. It reminded everyone that even the smallest acts of kindness could make a big difference. The bear and the bee showed that friendship knows no size or shape. It only needs a kind heart and a willingness to care.